friend?
Tirion is out. Well, tomorrow Tirion is out. CM Kurt Ochre, I think, because it's kind of spelt like a color in my oil painting class from art school. Kurt Ochre let players know that a small patch is hitting Thursday this week that will be removing Tirion Forging from the hero pool and also adding Queen Wagtoggle back in. There were some other things here, mostly issue fixing, but
they didn't announce, like, they're not changing Wagtoggle at all, right? She just is coming back.
Maybe, but what you see in the notes is verbatim the post.
Right. Okay.
So it just says adding Queen Wagtoggle back into the hero pool. So doesn't sound like there's any planned changes, but
I'm always curious when they rotate heroes out and then we get them back and they're exactly the same. I'm kind of like, oh, you don't think that maybe they needed a change and that's why you wanted to take them out? I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Especially now that our hero pool is so much bigger. When they were trying to keep it to 24, then rotating things in and out made sense. Now that we just have like infinity heroes, why rotate anything out? Other than stuff that's super OP like Tirion. But Queen Wagtoggle was never super OP. So.
No. I thought she was going to be good after they changed her to give the attack, but like it turns out, no, still not that good. Was still in the lower win rates for the entire time she was back in the game after she was, buffed. So I don't know. It'd be an interesting question. The next time we get a dev on the show, especially if they're, Battlegrounds inclined, is like, I'm curious where is their weight? Because clearly, like, some heroes are going to be better than others. Clearly, right now, some heroes are definitely better than others. Looking at you, Deathwing, who I was totally wrong about.
That was another one. That was a Battlegrounds thing I was totally right about.
Yes, you were. Although it wasn't juggler comps. It's just turns out you draft a rat pack and then you can just level to 6. Yeah. You can just level to 6 in most cases if you find like a rat pack. If you get 2 rat packs, here you come, rank 6 as soon as possible. But I'm curious, at what point do they feel a hero needs to get buffed? Because we got fresh statistics sent over to us by our buddies over at HSReplay. We're going to talk about at the end of the segment this week, and as we've seen with that, because they've been hooking us up with statistics for a while now, there have been a major chunk of heroes that have just been eating dirt for Battlegrounds' entire existence, and haven't received buffs. So I don't know. I would have to imagine that maybe there's certain heroes that they're just like, no, we intend them to be kind of low skill and not particularly high reward heroes, and they're, I guess, probably okay with it. But there are probably others that maybe just go too far down the crap creek, and they decide that it's time to hit them with the buff, shine them up with the buff cloth. So I don't know. I was trying to come up with what's the opposite of a Nerf hammer or a Nerf bat? I don't know. But whatever the case is, that analogy, you can tweet at us at TAC Podcast and let us know how you would have been more clever than me on this episode. So, the other big thing, by the way, and this is not necessarily Battlegrounds news, it's all Hearthstone news, but it was in this post from Kurt Ochre, is that the ongoing Android issues which resulted from the 16.4 update should now be resolved with the patch that hits tomorrow, which has just been an ongoing pain point for players in the Android ecosystem. So I hope it works. I really do, because that has been cannibalizing a lot of community conversation lately. When all I want to do is talk about dragons. I guess a lot of people play on Android, which I guess shouldn't surprise me. I know way more people play this more as a mobile game than I do. But it just bums me out that it's been so broken for so long.
Yeah, I think we lose sight of that a lot because both you and I play the majority of our games on PC. I mean, I play a couple of games on my lunch hour here and there sort of thing. And I know, you lay in bed and play a little bit of Battlegrounds before you go to bed.
No Hearthstone before bed.
No Hearthstone before bed?
I will not sleep. I'm the first 2 years, Joss, I had trouble sleeping. I figured out it was playing Hearthstone before bed.
Oh, I didn't know that you'd stop doing that.
It activates my brain, man. I just start seeing puzzles and I close my eyes and I'm like, if back then I would have been playing standard and I'm seeing trades and stuff. And now it's because I have made the mistake a few times with Battlegrounds. I'm seeing Battlegrounds. I'm like, I will literally close my eyes and see myself buying minions. Like it's like when
you might be playing Hearthstone too much when.
Yeah, I am, however, playing the most mobile Hearthstone I've ever played before because of Battlegrounds. I did do, as I think I mentioned last week, I did do what I said I was going to do. I logged in on my phone to my European account, so I don't care about my MMR as much. I'm just playing Battlegrounds like all the time. And like in the kitchen cooking, I've got a Battlegrounds game going on my phone. Like I'm always playing Battlegrounds.
I find it's really good because it has the long timers when you're in the, like you can do all your buying and selling and stuff. And then you're like, okay, now I know I have a minute where I don't need to pay attention. Whereas like a standard game, I'm watching my opponent, what he's doing with his hand. I'm watching what he's playing, how he's trading. But like when you're sitting in the tavern, there's literally, once you've done all your buying and selling, there's nothing to do. And you just got that timer to kill. So you can literally walk away for a minute and then go do something, put something on the stove, mix something together, whatever.
This will be a wonderful time for a HelloFresh read, which we do have today, but I'm not going to put two reads that close together for you listeners. It is kind of perfect for that. So I think more than usual, I'm kind of feeling for Android players right now because I have actually been playing on my phone and I'm like, oh, I've really been enjoying this. If I couldn't do this, I have an iPhone, so it's stable. That would suck. I'd be really mad about that. So it's a bummer. Hopefully it fixes it tomorrow. We will see. So yeah, Tirion going bye-bye. Also, they kind of stealth changed the minion pool and how many minions are in said pool. This was confirmed by Hearthstone game designer Puffin that there are now more copies of Tier 6 minions in the pool after the launch of the Dragons patch. And he gave us an exact number. Actually, it turns out they removed 2 copies of each minion at Tier 1. So there's actually fewer copies of each Tier 1 minion than there were before. So there's there's
still a lot. There's still 16 of each and every minion in Tier 1. So there's still lots and lots and lots of Tier 1 minions.
Oh, yeah.
But there used to be 18.
Totally. Like 110 freaking percent. So yeah, there's 16 copies of every minion at 1, 15 copies at 2, 13 at 3, 11 at 4, 9 at 5. There used to be 6 at 6. There is now 7. They've added 1 more copy of every Tier 6 minion to the minion pool. And so little more consistent.
But still not to the point where Tier 6 minions are seeing, triples in every single lobby. Like I still don't see very many golden Tier 6 minions, which I think is a good thing because they're powerful enough. They don't need to be better. So I think that overall this is a good thing, except I have noticed that the meta now is more so leaning towards who can get to Tier 6 fastest, get the OP minion because you're much more likely to find the one that you're looking for. And then, you kind of go from there and things snowball if you're the first one up to Tier 6. So, I mean, there's still obviously some luck involved with, what Bob offers you in your tavern and everything else, but it's more consistent now, which means that just kind of getting to Tier 6 as fast as possible, or at least Tier 5 so that you're, tripling up to 6 is kind of the go-to strat that I've noticed in the last week or so.
Yes, which in most of my games is who's Deathwing, because they get the Rat Pack, then they get to power level with impunity, and even if they do lose, they don't lose that much health. And then there's Tirion, who's just doing his own thing. Tirion is playing his own entire game of Battlegrounds. But it also works out for the Tirion. So that is kind of what I noticed happening. Again,
I do like the design of Tirion. I just wish that he had a little bit more competition for the things that he's going for. So I think maybe that if I know he's going away, but I'm thinking like when he comes back, because I'm assuming he'll come back, I don't necessarily think he needs to be changed in any way. I think that the hero pool just maybe needs to change to bring in some more heroes that kind of capitalize on that same minion pool that he's trying to pull from. And then I think that would probably be enough just to give him some competition with some of those minions.
I wonder if they were holding out hope that removing some of the tribeless minions in the mid tiers that they did remove with the Dragons patch would have a little bit of a chilling effect on Tirion. And then they probably looked at the stats and were like, oh, no change whatsoever. He's still at the top. So I also find it telling that they didn't say anything about retooling Tirion, so I'm wondering if he's just gone. Because with previous heroes leaving, a lot of times they said, hey, we're going to take another crack at this. Although a lot of times that's for lower powered heroes. They're saying like they've said that with Finley. We still don't know what the hell's going on with Finley. But that's actually a great example. I'm glad I remembered it. They said specifically when Finley went away, hey, it's not working out. Like, he's in the bottom of the barrel. We need to figure this out again. So we haven't really heard that about winning heroes. Bran Bronzebeard maybe being another really, like, a close analogy to Tirion, in that he was really powerful when he was here. Left, and he hasn't been back. It's like, Bran, blink twice if you're okay, buddy.
I'm sure Bran will also come back, but maybe fixed a little bit. But with Tirion, like, I think Tirion is fine. It's just that nobody else is kind of going after the stuff that he's going after. So then it makes it just so he's just so much better, right? So, because, if I decide, hey, I want to go juggling demons, or I want to go dragons, or I want to go beasts, like, other people in my lobby are probably going for that. But, nobody's going for tribeless minions except Tirion. So I think that could be the change that he needs, is just more heroes that are competing for those same minions.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I still argue, bring Bran back. Let's see how he does.
Yep.
It's like Malcolm was gone. So I like Tirion, and I would like to see other heroes like him. I have no idea what the hell that even is, because, like, he's so unique because it is tribeless, and Jaraxxus is basically Tirion, but for demons, it's just he sucks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because his hero power is still, I think, horrendously overcosted. I think it should cost 1 gold. But it's just it's very interesting. I hope they're not done with Tirion. I hope they figure something out. I just don't know what you do other than just increase the cost of his hero power, which I think would be okay, because they clearly are happy with Jaraxxus overpaying for a crappy hero power.
Well, and that's kind of the thing, right? You either bring Tirion up or you bring him down, right?
I think you can do both. I think you can make Tirion 2, because just the way the game is played, Tirion gets whatever the hell he wants, and Jaraxxus, like, there's one tribe that he gets any benefit from. Make it 1 gold, man. Give Jaraxxus a break, especially post the demon nerfs. Watcher going to 4 has had an impact. Now, granted, it'll be a little problematic with juggler comps, but
yeah, I don't actually think. I mean, I've seen people playing juggler comps, but I haven't really seen anybody going for Watchers since they changed its tier. Like that changed from 3 to 4. Yeah. Like, you have to get it at the exact perfect time for you to have enough time now to actually level it up. And like I said, so many people are racing to 6 that, the Watchers just, there's no interest.
Yeah. I did do it. I've been struggling. I've been struggling quite a bit in the dragon meta. I opened up really good. Like, I had a great opening first 3 days, but that's because everyone was drafting dragons. And I'm like, all right, I'll literally draft anything else, and I'm going to get a halfway decent comp, and it worked. And honestly, I was just grabbing kobolds. Cobalt is not working anymore where I am at. The drafts are just too aggressive. Everyone, it seems like, is power leveling, and it's like whoever power levels and doesn't get punished for it, like, just runs the board, runs the table, and Tirion. So usually Deathwing Tirion, although because of I think the hero pool is big enough. I don't have them in every game, so I do have kind of more interesting games from time to time, but it's interesting. But then I had like a Sylvanas game where I got like 2nd place, and I drafted a juggler comp, and I didn't get a juggler until top 3.
Oof.
And I got 2nd place. Like, so it's like,
which is crazy.
I have these moments where I go, I know nothing about this game. I don't understand it anymore. They changed math. Why would you change math? I'm done. And then, like, I get my hell, which is, oh great, I'm on Sylvanas, and all I'm getting offered to me are...
I think I've played her 1 time because she just doesn't work.
This was on my European account. I had 2 options. It was that or Ragnaros.
Okay.
So yeah, then whatever. Anyways, still having a good time coming back around on this meta. So Also, Iksar, it's just been really chatty this week, and spoke to Hearthstone. Apparently, this is just a little bit of an interview that Hearthstone conducted with Iksar at the summit from a couple of weeks ago. We also conducted an interview or two, and some of it I could show and some of it I couldn't, and I don't want to dig through it and find the stuff that I can and accidentally show stuff that I shouldn't. So, well, you're just gonna have to wait until all the embargoes are lifted, and then we can just put those interviews out. But Hearthstone put out what they could say from their talk with Iksar, and it was on the future of Battlegrounds and a possible progression system for this mode. And so apparently, according to Iksar, he considers Battlegrounds still very much in beta, even went as far as to say, quote, Battlegrounds probably launched before it really had that final level of polish, which I'm not sure I agree with. Like, I would like to compliment them on this one.
It's such an old school Blizzard thing to say, right? Like that was one thing that you always used to think about when you thought of Blizzard, is the stuff that they released into alpha and beta was the things that a lot of other companies would release into, like actual full live release. Like they always would strive for an extremely high level of polish. So this to me is such an old school Blizzard comment, is that, it wasn't quite where we wanted it to be, but like we're here playing the beta going, why isn't this just a mode? This is great. This is fine. It's working. It's wonderful. Like, let's go.
Yeah. To me, playing it is reward enough. Like I'm just having so much fun. Like,
and I think at least when I play, I see the MMR system as my progression system, right? Like I see that number going up and down, and that's fine for me. I actually prefer that system to the star system of the standard ladder because it's so much less discrete, right? Like I feel like it's getting top 4 and seeing those numbers go up like a little bit or a lot, depending on how I placed and everybody else in my lobby and stuff. I don't feel as bad as when I just lose a whole star. Like, I know it's crazy because it's basically the same thing, but it's that like granular amounts that make me not have anxiety about my MMR and Battlegrounds the way that I do about my stars on ladder.
Yeah, I have a little bit, and that's why when I play on my phone, I play on a different account. But I don't have nearly as much, and I see that reflected in the community, at least where like I go and I see people talking about Battlegrounds. Like I don't see like a stigma behind like a lower score, like a lower rating in Battlegrounds that I do with like, oh, you're not a legend, I don't give a shit, I'm tuning out, I don't want to have this conversation. Not saying everyone's like that, but I still see that to this day about
that sentiment definitely exists within both standard and wild for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but I'm with you. I like just the number that just gets bigger and smaller, and like I prefer that too, and I cannot explain why. But I
think it's all like a perception thing, I think, because I look at that number and first of all, you start at this like 4,000, like it just is a number, which just seems completely random. And so because you start, it's not quite the same as like the star system where you feel like you start at no stars and then you have to go up and you get 5 per rank. Like it's numbers that people can really wrap their head around. And when I'm, gaining 74 and losing 68 and, like it's like the numbers are so big that I just don't connect with them the way I do with like up 1, down 1 in the star system. So I don't know. It feels like when I'm winning and losing stars, it's that much bigger of an up or a down versus like it feels more like a sliding scale in Battlegrounds. And I find it a lot harder to compare people based on MMR in Battlegrounds. Like I know some of the streamers that I watch that are over 10K. I'm like, wow, they're really good at Battlegrounds. But it's like our ranks are so, again, small and easy to wrap your head around that you can say like, okay, I'm, rank 1 or 2 or legend or whatever. And those are a lot easier for someone to wrap their head around and compare versus if you say like, okay, someone who's maybe at 5,500 versus someone who's at 8,000. Are they actually different in terms of skill? Are they, or is that more of like because you've had time to play more games and you've been grinding more? Like, I don't know. I can't wrap my head around how to compare to Battleground players. And maybe it's just because it's also very new. But like, in the star system, it seems much more obvious of, like a legend player versus a rank 5 player versus a rank 15 player, like that. I don't know. It's much more set, I guess, in my head.
Yeah, I also like that it's not resetting monthly. I like it that it's this thing that I can chip away at over a longer period of time.
That too. Which I think also makes it harder for the comparison, right? Because it's like we haven't had any sort of MMR reset or anything like that. So
no, I bet we will. And I would even, and this is based on nothing, by the way. I have no insider information on this. I bet we will. I hope it's not monthly. Like I bet it'll become a regular thing, but I hope it's not as regular as ladder reset.
Yeah, I think it would make sense to do it at least to wipe us when it comes out of beta. Like once they've decided on what the progression system is that they want to add and how they want that to look, and then they bring it out of beta, I would expect like a live launch to just wipe your progress.
Well, let's talk about it in a second, because I think some of what Iksar mentions here makes me think about how they could, and I think maybe should handle it. So he said that they very much want to add a progression system, but continued saying like there are other features that they really want to hit first, like before a progression system. And apparently at the very tip top of this is the 8-player lobby. Apparently that's a really big one. It's like the main thing that the team wants to hit. I'll even read a direct quote here. He said, so you can queue up with your friends, but also for organizers outside of Blizzard to make their own tournaments and broadcast those for people to watch. So that's really the first feature. Like, I know we like to not carve anything a dev says in stone, but damn it, like clearly 8-player lobby, top of the list.
Well, I think that was one of the first things that people were asking for. And I think especially after Blizzard held their own Battlegrounds event, I guess I was going to say tournament, but it wasn't quite a tournament. I mean, maybe you can call it that. Yeah, kind of. It was basically the best that they could do, given that people could only queue in as pairs. And I think that really like made them realize that what the community said, like right out the gate, is like, why can't we do full 8-player lobbies? They were kind of like, oh, hemming and hawing, and then they went to do their own event and went, oh yeah, no, we should prioritize this style. What we've just tried to do here works okay in a totally closed, very small group of hand-picked like personalities and streamers. But as soon as you try to release this to the wider community, it's just not going to run smoothly. And they even had some hiccups when they had that small group. So, I mean, I can understand them wanting to give the community what they want, in that, the community wants to run these tournaments. I think the Battlegrounds event that Blizzard did run was really fun to watch. I watched a lot of it, and I would watch community run Battlegrounds tournaments for sure. I think it's a really fun and engaging mode. So I don't know exactly what the format of that tournament would be. I'm sure there's all kinds of auto battler tournaments out there that they could pull formats from, but yeah, I don't know. I think this should be a priority, and it's good to see that they're like, yeah, no, this is our number one first feature is going to be able to queue up with your friends. The one question that I have with this is, if I queue up with like 5 of my friends, will it backfill with 3 other people, or do I have to try to, find 8 players in order to start a lobby? Yes. Might not be terrible if like you can easily join from your friends list. So Garrett, if you flag yourself as like, Garrett wants to play Battlegrounds with friends, and then my friends list like pings, or and like my friends list has like a glow around it or something, and I click on it, and then it's like, oh, click on Garrett to join his Battleground lobby, like some way that the UI kind of calls attention to it, because otherwise it would be so hard, I think, to organize. So
I haven't really thought about social features in Hearthstone in a really long time, because frankly I don't think the game needs it. But the second we get 8-player Battlegrounds lobbies, and I hope this doesn't deter anybody from like, oh crap, we're gonna open a can, whatever. I would like clans then, or like chat channels, something where you can organize this like at a really base social community level. I want 8-player lobbies, if for nothing else, for fireside gatherings. That would be fun as hell.
Yeah.
Like so much fun to like, all right, who wants to play in a Battlegrounds lobby? And you just like sign up. It's like, all right, we've hit 8. All right, we're starting a second lobby. All right, we hit 8 again. Like third lobby. And you just like imagine like having like 4 tables, whatever 16 times 2 is.
32.
playing that many people playing freaking Battlegrounds together. Clearly math not my strong suit.
It's fine.
It'd be really cool. And I haven't done a fireside gathering in forever. Miss you, Amy. But yeah, that'd be a really great tool to have. And yeah, I'm with you. Last few weeks, Joss, you've had a few. I don't want to call them rants because it makes it sound like a mean thing. But you've had a couple times where you've like gone off on this string of points, and I'm just like, I agree with everything. I was nodding for the audio only audience.
Okay, well that's good because I don't want people to think that I'm ranty. I'm actually really enjoying my time in Hearthstone right now.
I was struggling for a word that didn't sound judgmental. But like you hit a string of points where I'm just like I agree with everything. I have nothing more to add because I too loved their show tournament, and I'm really surprised they haven't done anything else since. Like, dragons are here. How did you not plan a dragons event around dragons getting added? Like, do the same thing. Just do it again. I want to watch that. It was really watchable. So
it was really watchable, but I'm sure it was also extraordinarily expensive for them because the prize pool itself was huge. And then I don't know if they, paid people's appearance fees or whatever, but they also had a lot of big name people coming to that event. I have a feeling
that if they didn't have appearance fees, a lot of those players wouldn't be there.
So yeah, more to my point, saying that was quite an expensive event, and I don't know if they would be able to kind of duplicate that, especially for a mode that doesn't have any like direct monetization, right? Like if you're pumping money into your esports, that kind of makes sense, right? Because that is standard Hearthstone. In order to compete and play all the decks that the pros are playing, you probably need to buy cards, so you can kind of draw that direct line from standard Hearthstone esports over to money for Blizzard. It's a lot harder for Battlegrounds because it's a totally free to play mode. So it's a lot harder to kind of draw that, like, this is bringing in money into the Hearthstone ecosystem, into Blizzard. Like, drawing that line is much more difficult in Battlegrounds. So I can see how they wanted to be like, hey, we have a new thing. Let's pour some money on it and see what happens. And it was successful. The event was successful. The mode has been successful. Obviously, they can't stop updating it and we can't stop talking about it. So it's super fun. But yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, Iksar continued on saying that what was that?
I was just to say, I wouldn't expect another event anytime soon.
I mean, principal
maybe probably for launch. I would say whenever this comes out of beta, whenever they launch it, they'll probably do another one. But I mean, even in Iksar's quotes here, it says like, we want people outside of Blizzard to be able to make their own tournaments and broadcasts. Like, this isn't something they want to do for themselves. They want other people to be able to organize these things for them. So,
okay. Well, sell a 30 Descent of Dragons card pack, call it the Battlegrounds pack, because you'll unlock everything and put a portion of that money into a prize pool for Battlegrounds events. There, I solved your problem for you, Blizzard. While you're at it, don't set a cap. Don't set a cap on how much money goes to it. Frodan had a cryptic tweet at one point because someone tweeted at him like, why is there a cap on these things? And he said legal reasons. And I'm like, well, Valve found a way. So
yeah.
I don't know what those,
and man. I don't know enough about American law to potentially comment on that. I really have no idea what a legal reason for putting a cap on it. Like, I would say maybe like not necessarily like legal reasons, but maybe like tax reasons. I could see that maybe there's something there about how much money you can raise or something. But like you say, Valve did it. So figure out your cluck, Blizzard.
Figure it the cluck out. Iksar went on to say that they really want to nail the content pipeline and said that Dragons, the patch that we just got, was probably 75 to 85% what they would want a big Battlegrounds update to be. Like, what's another 15% on top of this? Like, I thought that was massive. So that's really cool. And then he basically said to expect big kind of content updates like what we just saw around Hearthstone expansions. And then said about every 3 to 4 months. So if that's the case, I think that's great. I think it's going to be really healthy for the game, because he even went on to say that in between that, they're still going to have hero balance and, quote, tons of card changes. So if that's it, if that is the cadence for Battlegrounds, That sounds wonderful, especially if they can keep it up once it's out of quote unquote beta.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think like because you have more experience in auto battlers than me, much like card games, my first auto battler was Battlegrounds. So, I mean, you said right when they first launched the mode that this was really fun, but they're going to need to update. I think you might have even said every couple of weeks. Anyways, very often was essentially your point when they first launched Battlegrounds, is that this is a type of game that, because of the random nature of how some of these games play out, not only in the minions that you're offered, but also in the way that the attacks happen, because the battling is automatic, that if it starts to feel stale, people will drop off really quickly, and that like sterility happens really, really quickly, right? It's not the kind of thing that will, you know, have a 2 to 3 month tail on it. It's like, if I'm seeing the same heroes and the same minions for weeks on end, I'm gonna walk away from this. So I think that having hero balance and tons of card changes in between those big content updates, and if we're looking at 75 to 85% of a Battlegrounds update was just given to us, and we were given 7 heroes, then I don't think it's a big stretch to say like, okay, so they're looking at giving us like 10 new heroes every 3 to 4 months on top of all of these card changes and everything else. And that's even without looking at the dragons pool that was actually added. Like those are some big changes. And I think it's kind of what the mode needs. So I don't know what the next thing is. Like, we kind of all had an inkling that dragons was going to be the next big patch for Battlegrounds, because there were so many minions that had dragon as a tribe that were already existing in Battlegrounds, and just, you know, we didn't have any dragons to take advantage of that except for the amalgams when they were still in. So I think dragons coming to Battlegrounds was no big surprise, especially at the end of the year of the dragon. But I don't know where they go from here, Garrett. I don't know what the next big thing would be.
I had insider information, and I don't know anymore, because they've released everything I got to see ahead of time.
Yeah.
I truly do not know. I'm excited for it, and I'm currently enjoying playing it. So it's just like, I'm just happy as a clan.
Goblin Graphics in the chat room says pirates. Arg.
Oh, we don't have pirates. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we don't
pirates.
We don't have menagerie
Pirates,
buffing
totems.
cards that mention pirates, but yeah, we don't have pirates. We don't have totems. They need to add a new tribe to Hearthstone at some point. When that happens, then it's also like, ooh, when we get in that tribe in Battlegrounds, like undead. I want like undead to be a tribe, or like scourge.
That would be. I feel like undead would. That would be really cool. But I feel like with like death rattle stuff and with the reborn stuff, like that to me feels, both of those things are very undead themed. And I'm like, if we don't have undead by now.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Treants, kobolds, elementals. Elementals is a really good one, Elvix, definitely.
Battle Ivangoro.